everybody. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about position of the horse in their frame. A little bit about their shoulders and a little bit about their head. Recently I've been asked a lot about head position. They're like, should my horse's head be up? Should it be down? You know, where should it go? Well, it's not a one answer. I can't say yes, it's always up or yes, it's always down. It's how they are in the shoulders and in the chest. Because hopefully I'll show you with him. This is a horse in training. This is Bubba Bay. So he does make mistakes. He's in training. That's why he's here. But it's not about what the head is doing. The head, we can see, will go up and it'll go down in what I'm asking to do. But it's about what these shoulders are doing and what the chest is doing. So some things to think about when you guys are, trail riding. This is not something you need to do in arena. It's easy to learn in arena, but you can practice out on the trail. Because out on the trail, you'll have a more natural forward. But what I want you to start to think, when you are asking your horse to transition up, what position are they in before you ask them to transition up? Because it's very important when you transition up that the shoulders are out of the way, that he's in a bend. Because if the shoulders are not out of the way or he's not in a bend, he cannot engage his hind legs because the front legs are in the way. And on top of that, it's an old training rule. The first training rule you learn when you start working horses, whatever you teach on the right, you teach on the left. So I'm just taking that and just doing it within a transition. So when I ask this horse to transition, I really want to think of where his shoulders are and where the weight is in his body. If I'm turning to the right, I want his weight a little bit on that left side. So that way he can move the right front foot and then he can engage that right hind leg. Now when I talk about bend, it doesn't always necessarily mean a lot of bend. So when you hit the trails, I don't want you to do, and now this guy could do it, but it's not good for him. This is not a bend. This is overbent at the neck. I'm going to come right to camera and you're going to see. He's overbent in the neck and his body is straight. That is not a bend. That is overbent. It doesn't do him much good. He can do it. It's no problem. I can steer him because of the outside rein. But when I'm talking about bend, especially when you guys start doing transition, is I'm going to come onto camera. I want you to think of bend through the ribs, bend through the body. And you see he's not very bent. His nose is tipped off to one side, a little bit of the weight's to the right. So now that left hind leg can step under. If you watched, I don't know if I can get him to do this, but we'll try. If he's bent to the left and he has his weight on the left side, now, do you see him slow down? One, because he's thinking about what I'm doing, but two, he can't come through. So, like for him, he has a tendency to be a little bit more on the lazy side. So, any excuse for him to slow down, that's what he does. So I really want you guys to start thinking about that bend before you transition up. Now, when I transition up, a lot of people have asked me about the head position. Now, I prefer the head to be in a natural position where it's about right here, but I also don't want the horse to come up or I don't want him to go down unless I ask. So I'm going to play with the right bend right now. Now, as he goes up, what you're going to see is he'll go up, and I really am focused on him not throwing his ears back, but pushing his ears forward. Now remember, this is a horse in training, so he's going to make mistakes. But now, what I want to do is, for me and what I practice with my horses, is asking them to extend, and can they lengthen down and continue to gait. Now, I don't throw my horse away. If you watch, he puts his head down. I'm going to ask him to put his head down. I play with the inside rein, send him to that outside rein, and there he goes down. He goes down to my reins. He lifts his chest, and he goes down to the reins, but lifts his chest. If you watch, my saddle horn will actually lift. I don't want him to drop his chest. Like right there, he dropped. I'm going to lift. I'm going to slow him down a little bit, ask him to engage, and then put his head down. Good boy. Now, if you watch, I'm going to actually ask him, I'm going to throw him away. Now, he's going to drop his head down because I'm going to throw him away. But I want you to watch what happens to his gait. If I throw him away, now if you watch when I'm riding around, his head's still down, but now he's trotting. I want him to extend into the bridle and lift his chest. So now I'm just going to ask him to slow down, lift his chest, and put his head down again. But if you notice, my reins aren't tight. There's still a little bit of a bob in them. Now he's pacing. I'm going to ask him to get off of the shoulder a little bit. So that way he goes to the outside. Open up that shoulder. There, attaboy. Woo, getting away over here. If he leans on that inside, there's an exercise I showed you a couple weeks ago, asking him to kind of move out, and you can watch. He changes his gait every time I ask him, just kind of move that shoulder or move that weight over there. He gets much smoother. But you can see, I'm going to ask him to put his head down one more time. He's getting a little tired, but if I can get him to go way down, attaboy, good boy. One more time. Play with the inside, send him into that outside, and then let him lengthen down into it. And keep his chest up. There we go. Good boy. And walk. So you can see it's not his head position that I'm concerned with. He can have it up, and I can, I'll maybe some other time show you, I'll bring him up. I can ask him to lift his head up and ride with his head a little bit more up. A little bit more showy. Ask him to engage a little bit. There you go, buddy. But now his head's a little more up. But now I'm going to ask him to put his head down. It doesn't matter where his head is, as long as he's lifting in the chest and he's moving off of those shoulders. His weight's to the outside. Put your head down. Thank you. Put your head down. Attaboy, good boy. And walk. So the main thing I want to show you is it doesn't matter where the head is. It's where the body is. It's where the chest is. It's where the shoulders are at. Think about the body when it comes to gait. It's not always necessarily what the head is doing. I'm going to help the head out, but it's not always, it doesn't have to be up or it doesn't have to be down. It's where he is relaxed and coming through and pushing those ears forward instead of sending them back or dropping them down. It's all about the frame they're in. Hope this helps. See you next time.